known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.
We are live. Finally, sorry guys for the delay. Carmine Bianco, WagerTalk.com with Puck Time. A few changes today. A couple guys coming in and stepping in. Andrew is off today. He's having trouble speaking. He's caught a bug or something. But I'm stepping in to the main host chair, and Dr. Chuck is filling in last minute, so thanks to him. And of course, our regular Tuesday guest, Don Buster, with functioning Wi-Fi, we hope. So I'm looking forward to a good show. We have 4 big games we're going to discuss: Carolina, Tampa Bay, Pittsburgh, Chicago, Los Angeles, Montreal, and the Seattle Kraken taking on the Vegas Golden Knights. 4 games. As I said, Dr. Chuck will bring you in first. Thanks for stepping in last minute to fill in for Andrew. How are things going?
Well, I'm glad to do it. It doesn't always work out for the schedule, but I saw that message and was like, I'll jump in there if you guys want me. Going pretty well. It was not the best hockey week since last time I was on the show, but we got a good win last night and swept the entire card with NBA and the Monday Night Football game. Also have a 10-unit play going right now. So if you're on Sports Memo, both Buster and I are over there at Sports Memo, and I have a big 10-unit Maction college football play off of a 5-1 Maction week in college football. So I know it's a hockey show, but check out over there. We have hockey plays every day, as well as that big play you can get right now.
Awesome. Good to hear, and best of luck with that play. And we'll bring in our regular Tuesday guest. This man is more famous in Mexico than Canelo Alvarez. This one and only Don Buster. Buster, how you doing, my friend?
Hey guys, good to be here. Everything's been going all right per se. I guess hockey, like everything. I bitched about this last year. I went about 12-34 in overtime games. Well, I'm getting on that bad run again. I'm 1-6 in the last 7 OT games. But you know what? It's a long season, and like I always say, it's not a sprint. It's a real long marathon, and we're still got our head just a bit poking above water. So this time of year, that's pretty good. So we're quite happy with the way things going and looking to go on a nice little hockey run here.
That's what I want to hear, Buster. We need to get everyone going on a run, especially after Sunday, that bloodbath that was the NFL. The books, it was a good day for the books. Monday, things sort of kind of evened out, I have to believe. NHL went almost to form. Unfortunately, those Toronto Maple Leafs, once again, that Jekyll and Hyde that is the Toronto Maple Leafs, losing 5-1 as a big favorite. That's why you don't lay those numbers to the LA Kings that we'll discuss their game against Montreal shortly as well, too. The Rangers got it done 4-3 against in that game against the Panthers. I talked about it. That line was short. It was a weird number, and the Rangers got it done. And then I'm happy about obviously, Ovi continuing to score and Washington getting there with the puck line wager. I was pretty happy about that one, as that was one of my plays with my clients. Anyways, guys, let's jump right into it. Carolina and Tampa Bay. Let's have a look at the price of this one. Carolina plus 105, Tampa Bay minus 125 as a short-priced favorite at home. Dr. Chuck, I'm going to go to you first on this one, but the Canes' first loss of the season on Saturday, it was done by the end of the first period. They chased Felix Anderson in that one 4-0 at the end of the first period. And then you look at this Tampa Bay team. It's a short price on them. And this is a team that, after their second cup-winning season, had a slow start to the season. But they seem to be picking up the pace right now. 4-0-1, their last 5 games, just an OT loss at the Scotiabank in Toronto to the Leafs. But this team seems to be coming on. A very short price here for two teams that are familiar with themselves because they played in the playoffs last season with Tampa winning that in 5. Give me your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, that power play was pretty rough right off the bat for the Hurricanes against the Panthers on Saturday. So that was an uphill battle from the jump. And you mentioned the Rangers yesterday, and I love that spot in the Rangers after that Panthers-Hurricanes matchup. And for the same reason, you mentioned it's a short price, and so it kind of makes you scratch your head why it's a short price. But it's a short price because the number hanging next to the Hurricanes is 9-1, and so you're gonna get some eyes on that, thinking I get plus money with a 9-1 team coming off of a loss. And I've mentioned it ad nauseum. I'm as bullish as anybody on the Hurricanes. That was my big futures play on the season, both wins and points over. And it's not. You have to take it situationally. And so taking the Lightning tonight doesn't mean I'm against the Hurricanes or anything like that. But I really like this spot for the Hurricanes to have been up for that undefeated matchup and to just not to show up tonight. I really like the value, I think, on the over here, just because you're getting a 5.5. The overs were pretty even season to date, but this last 7 days, just taking them as a general trend, it's going way over 70% now, just on kind of a regression to the mean going back over. I mean, that will come back down, but I think if you get 5.5 here, it's already juicing towards the over. And then as a not necessarily taking the Lightning, but if you can get one of those props where you get Lightning in regulation, tie no bet, I really like that spot here because I think the Lightning are going to, like you said, maybe they lose in overtime like they did to the Leafs, but I think that's the only way they lose tonight.
Yeah, and and I see it in Buster. I'm going to go to you next on this one. It's one of those things where I talk about it. Sometimes when a big streak ends, you see a team, they lose that first one. They may drop a second or third game. We've seen it. You look at the numbers over these last 2 COVID seasons, and a team puts together 7 or 8 games in a row, loses one, and then all of a sudden loses a second or third. It's a change in that dressing room, and it goes the same with win streaks or losing streaks that turn into a winning streak. So it's one of those ones. I've talked about the Canes, and I like Dr. Chuck's take on the total because I've talked about the Canes are going to be a team that are going to score a lot of goals this season. They are a good checking team, a team that creates turnovers and scores goals. And we know Tampa, you give them a power play, and they are going to punish you, much like the Edmonton Oilers are doing to teams. Buster, what's your take here? Side or total?
Well, guys, it looks like I might as well start right off. Full disclosure here. I know you guys are both bragging up the Rangers last night. I actually had Florida as my only loss, and I'll tell you guys right now, if I can have a team outshoot a team 45-18, 45-17 every night, I would take them every night. That game's played 10 times. Florida wins it 9 out of 10. Anyways, let's move on. I'm playing devil advocate against you guys like usual. I actually have already gave out Carolina as a small play for our clients today. What I like here is Carolina, yes, they have lost that last game on Saturday, but usually when you do the Florida-Tampa Bay swing, you usually play the next night or at least in the other night. Well, they've got a couple nights in between. And if you go ahead, they don't play till Friday. So if you ask me, you're going to get the best out of Carolina tonight. And just a little nugget out there, which means very little, but it's a little trend. Road team in the series, the last 6, 5-1 for the road team. So that's out there. Tampa Bay, what can you say? Stanley Cup champs. They're looking great. They've won 4 of the last 5. But you know what? They don't look as great as a lot of people might believe. I just see a little bit of that hangover there. And like I say, getting Carolina at plus money here, that's a play that works for me. As far as the total goes, I know you guys both talked about the under. About the over. But the under is, I believe, let me see here, 8-1 the last 9 between these guys, 15-5-1 the last 21. 5.5, I always say to everybody that it's easy to get to 6 in this league because it is. But I will have no play on the total here because of those stats and because it's just the way these guys can play those low-scoring games as well as high-scoring games. So it's kind of a coin flip to me. But what I will have is a small play on Carolina plus 105, plus 110, whatever you have.
All right, that's Don Buster of Sports Memo. You can find him there and pick up his hockey stuff. He has been a fantastic. Guys, we're going to look at the second game. Pittsburgh Penguins, Chicago Blackhawks. Let's look at the numbers on this one. The Pens, let's get them up there. The Pens, minus 125 on the road. Chicago, plus 105. Chuck, I'm going to go to you again on this one. Listen, the Hawks responded on the weekend after the firing of Collision with a 2-1 win against the Nashville Predators. Sorry, that was on Sunday. And they did something that we haven't seen from this team all year. They played so much better defensively, only allowed 21 shots on goal in that game. And this is a team that struggled all season. 48 goals allowed thus far this season. Only the Arizona Coyotes are worse at 49 goals. So seeing them play better right off the bat after a coach's firing is kind of impressive. And, you know, they're playing this Pittsburgh team that you're going to see what my narrative here is here in a second. Pittsburgh team that blew them out 5-2 the last time they met, I think mid-October. Chase Fleury in that game. It was 4-0. Or 4-0. I'm using my soccer phrase. I just finished stoppage time. 4-0 at the end. 11 and a half minutes into that game. Effectively, that game was over as well after 12 minutes. But it's a good bounce back spot here, and maybe a good time to look at the total here. I'm leaning under 6 in this one. I just think maybe they build off that 2-1 performance. Sometimes a coaching change does that to a team. It changes the structure of that team. What are your thoughts here? Crosby is out. He won't be in the lineup tonight, so that's a hit to the Pittsburgh scoring as well. Chuck?
Oh, exactly. So I knew that you were going to get into it more. I didn't know if you were going to talk about it right off the bat, as we do pre-show, but I am lockstep with you on that. I was impressed with what the Blackhawks did last game. Obviously, the Penguins are a solid bet on that. In that vein, I don't really have a play on the side. Can't quite want to back the Penguins with that line. I definitely lean towards the under here. No Crosby, like you said. Blackhawks they're due for a regression just purely based on the math. The expected goals minus actual goals is just ridiculous. I think they lead the league, and it's like Brian Leonard talks about with the puck luck, and Fleury the same way. It has to go back the other way. Maybe Fleury is not what he was recently, as recent as last season when he won the top goalie and then they traded him for basically nothing. But it's just got to go the other way. The Blackhawks have got to play better defense, obviously, because they are able to that's part of the puck luck. If you're constantly giving the puck away in the zone and things like that, you're going to have more goals scored against you. But I just am glad to fade every single night as long as these numbers are so skewed, the Blackhawks under. And so if you're getting the full 6, I thought we'd get 5.5 here because of the last game, and just because so many are being hung at 5.5, I'm totally with you.
All right, Don Buster, give me your thoughts on this one. Are you playing devil's advocate here again? Are you leaning over in this game and looking for some scoring? The Hawks have been a good over bet a lot of this season. Give me your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, Carmine, usually I have been playing the Blackhawks over a lot this year, but tonight is not going to be one of those nights. I actually do like Chicago getting a little bit of plus 105, plus 110. Pittsburgh probably shouldn't be favored that big. Hey, Chicago's 1-0 with interim head coach there, Derek King, behind the bench, so that's always a positive, right? Pitt's lost 4 of their last 5 games. And like you guys have both mentioned, Crosby won't play. They're missing a few other guys on with the COVID. But to me, the guy they're missing the most is head coach Sullivan. He's the guy that they're missing, and maybe why they've been on this little bit of a losing streak here. Yeah, we acknowledge totally that Chicago has had trouble scoring, but they do put a lot of shots on net. They do look like they just, as you guys have been saying, this puck luck thing, which I don't use, but I guess it's quite common with Brian and you guys. So they've had bad puck luck. The catch here, why I like the Blackhawks as well, is because Pittsburgh has trouble with this team historically. They're 0-7 the last 7 trips to Chicago. They're 2-12 the last 14 games against these guys, and I'm getting plus money. The total, I think, is at a perfect at 6. Like you guys said, if it came up 5.5, then you don't want to touch it. But for me, I don't want no part of the total. Even though these guys did play to a 5-2 game earlier in the year, I'm almost agreeing with you guys that if you under 6 might be the play. But the best play for me here is going to be Chicago at a little bit of plus money.
All right, Don Buster, Chicago with the plus money. And listen, Buster, I don't disagree with you in this spot because we see it. We see it a lot of times. A team makes a coaching change and there's like a reversal of form. It happens in a lot of sports. So I don't doubt that it might happen here with this team. I'm telling you, 21 shots in that game. This is a team that was allowing 30, 35, 40 shots per game. They played much better defensively. So we'll see how they do tonight against this a hurting Pittsburgh Penguins squad. Maybe they pick up a second win. All right, Buster's on the show, so we've got to have a Montreal game if there is one on the show. Unfortunately, Andrew's not here to talk about this one, but let's look at the number here. Montreal minus 150 at home. The Los Angeles Kings plus 130. We saw what happened yesterday in this game. The total here sits at 5.5. The Kings win into Toronto. The Leafs put up a stinker in that one, but the Kings were full value in that game, making it now 5 wins in a row after winning their last 4 at home of a 5-game homestand. And now they head to Montreal. It's a back-to-back. This year they've only had a couple back-to-back games, splitting the 2 games, going 1-1. Last year in back-to-back spots, they were 3-7 in back-to-back spots, the LA Kings. I'm going to go right back to you, Buster, first on this one. Give me your thoughts on this one. Bit of a surprise yesterday, I think, for Leaf fans, but the Kings were full marks yesterday in that win.
Actually, yes, Carmen, they were full marks. And we've talked about this on the show a lot of times. The opening road trip, the first game for that road team, they want to get off to that good start and, feel comfortable or feel confident about the rest of that road trip. So that first game seems to always be, where that road team does put out their best effort. They obviously don't always win that effort. But anyways, Carmine, I know that for the most part, you picked these games. Last week, you had Montreal, Seattle, and now you put this game up for me to talk about. But I think you're just doing that because Montreal, with their record, I'm pretty sure if Montreal was 11-2-1, you might not. We might be talking about a different game here, buddy. But and I think you do that for Andrew too. So Andrew was smart. He got out of Dodge and didn't even want to talk about this game. So I'm sure he's watching and getting a little laugh of that. But you're right. LA on a back-to-back. Very impressive against the, as I like to say, the hated Leafs. And but the thing is, Montreal should not be laying 145 to anyone, should they? But again, I can't play the Kings on this back-to-back. Montreal actually, in these 3 home games, they've played really well. I know they're 1-2. They beat Detroit. They played Vegas. They outshoot them like 38-18. They out-hit them. They just dominate them and lose 5-2. Almost not similar the other night because Islanders played with them. But again, they had 38, 40 shots on goal. They just hit a couple of hot goalies. And I believe it was Sorokin played for the Islanders that night. And, of course, Lehner played for the Vegas. So they hit a couple of hot goalies. So as a Montreal fan, they are looking a little bit better. But at the end of the day, like I said, hopefully they have a shot in game 82. But anyways, LA has won 5 in a row. I'm not too sure if you guys want to step in front of that. I know I don't. If the line even comes down a little bit, for me, I might play Montreal first period. Right now, it's still a little too high, but I got a feeling that LA money must come in at some point in time. So, And for you under players, which I don't want any part of it, the last 5 games in Montreal have went under. So it might be something that you guys want to look at. But for me, if I get to the window, it's going to be with Montreal in the first period, because LA might be, feeling pretty good about themselves, about the big win, and maybe come out a little lackluster for that first period. But right now, the price is a little bit too high. But that would be the play for me.
All right, Don Buster of Sports Memo. And yes, while I do pick the games, it wouldn't matter if Montreal was 10-0-0. I would still have them on. You and Andrew usually have a lot of insight. It's a team that you guys follow, so getting that insight and giving it to our viewers is always an important thing. The one thing with Montreal, Buster, I will say is this, this team was up against it right from the start. When you finish usually teams that make it to a cup final, or whether they win it or lose it, struggle at the start of the following season. We saw Tampa Bay struggle a bit this year. We saw what Dallas did, making it to these semifinals and struggling. The thing with Montreal here is it's that foundation. Carey Price missing from the start, missing a defenseman as well too. This team's like 3-10 to start the season, and those wins came against not stalwarts, Detroit twice and San Jose. But so this team has struggled. Are they turning the corner? Maybe. The fact that Carey Price is now back and ready to join the team again probably gives this team a bit of a spark. When that happens, I'm not sure. Whether it happens tonight, I don't think so, because he's not obviously in the lineup, but he is back with the team. Dr. Chuck, your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, what do you think? So Buster's not being trolled. That's good. I like a couple of his trends there. Yeah, with the Kings on the back-to-back, but also winning 5 in a row. Most of what I do in hockey is use the analytics and go contrarian. And actually, this stood out immediately to me. Like Buster said, is what the hell are the Habs doing this big of a favorite? And I use a term a lot in my capping called fade the beg, and the market is clearly begging you to back the team that just hammered the Leafs in Toronto on the back-to-back and not worry about the fact that, it doesn't make any sense, just the fact that Montreal's 3-10 and they probably just going to get hammered by this same team. Just did that the season to date, home favorites against the spread or on the puck line. Not very good, almost 30% winners. Last 7 days, though, it's kind of come back to normal, and they're 50% of the time. So I have a small play on Montreal puck line here. -1.5, you're getting like plus 170 or more. And I just think the value on that's pretty solid, considering all things, like Buster said. They got off to a hot start on their road trip, and then they play the next night. And I just love that spot to fade the Kings here, as well as the fact that Montreal is 3-10, but they have 45 goals allowed and 34 expected goals allowed, and that's one of those numbers that I talk about all the time. That negative 11 is something that I'd love to back, and at that price, I think it's such a great value. So, yeah, obviously, puck line in hockey is not exactly like the run line in baseball, and so that's why you get such a good price on it. So I wouldn't make it a huge bet by any means, but I like the value on it.
All right, Dr. Chuck from Sports Memo. And listen, I have to agree with you guys. While on the outside looking in, you look at it and you see Montreal at like -150, and I think it has dropped to about -140, and that's, I think, a reaction to the Kings winning yesterday. But this is probably a game that Montreal should win. Whether I want to back them at that price, likely not. If I was to, I'd look to either avoid the juice and take a three-way line in regulation with Montreal. It's just the Kings' back-to-back record over the last year or 2 years hasn't been a great one. But as Buster said, sometimes you don't want to get in front of a 5-game win streak, no matter who the wins came against. But I'm leaning towards Montreal in this one, the more I look at this game. All right, guys, let's look at the final game on the schedule. Vegas Golden Knights and Seattle Kraken. The price here, Vegas, a very short -120 at home. The Kraken, even money plus 100. These teams played in the first game for Vegas at home, with Vegas winning that game 4-3. We talked about this on yesterday's show, a team returning home off a road trip, and Vegas, a 4-game trip, East Coast, only 1 day off in between. They went 2-2 on the East Coast. I think this is a tough one. This line is similar to that Rangers line yesterday. It just kind of seems a little fishy to me. Dr. Chuck, I'm going to go to you first on this one. We know the players, obviously, that are out for the Vegas Golden Knights: Pacioretty, Stone, Tuck no longer there, traded to the Buffalo Sabres for Eichel, who hopes to return and play for Vegas in 3 months' time. We'll see if that actually does happen here. Minus 120 at home on the Knights. That doesn't normally happen. Seeing a price like that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and I think, I don't know where it sits now, but I think it might have even dropped more. I think you might see some minus 110 out there. So, just as far as the line reeking, like we spoke of the line reeking in the Montreal game, it leaves me scratching my head. So I don't have a big feel for that side there. I do continue to think that playing that under in Vegas games, especially like you said, first game back at home, the Kraken have been going over, and I just don't buy it. I think that's one of those things that's going to regress. We see these early season trends, and the Kraken just keep going over, and this team was built from the back to the front, and Grubauer has looked terrible, and I just don't buy any of it long term. And so I would definitely lean. I love those 5.5 unders. That's more contrarian just in general, but I would look no other spot than that. You could maybe even, I kind of would maybe think a little bit about just right off the bat, Kraken first period money line would be some decent value. But as far as the best bet in this game, I think it's the under 5.5.
All right. I have to agree with you on that one. I'm not going to add any further to it. I think it's a good spot for the under. Buster, give me your thoughts on this one.
Well, of course, since it is the last game, I might as well disagree with you guys right off the bat then. Although I do agree with Chuck about Seattle in the first period, because and again, we talk about this all the time, and it's just, whether it works all the time, whether it doesn't is, the point being is historically it works, right? So there's some games like you guys talked about last night with the Rangers. Yeah, you know what? We you guys went with that Rangers on that. I didn't. I went with what I normally would go with on Florida, and again, that game's played. So, but here, same kind of thing. So we got Vegas home after and Carmine, you've mentioned this before. Not just a 4-game road trip. It was an East Coast road trip. So, mind you, I don't get what the love is for this Seattle Kraken team. We've been going against them all year. I mean, it's just all strictly about value for us. How are they 120? Even off the back-to-back, why is Vegas only 120? Don't get that myself. I know you guys are saying that Vegas is trying to big a certain side of the game, but for me, like I say, the only reason we don't bet Vegas here is because of the road trip, and also because they are still missing a bunch of guys. We actually really like the over here, 5.5, because of this too, because Vegas, they've already played 4-3 the first game there. And I agree with Chuck that eventually, Chuck, you know what? They probably will start trending to the under. But until they do, I don't see anything that tells me that tonight's that night. It's been at this posted total at 5.5. They've went 8 out of 9 over Seattle. And Vegas, they can put the puck in that, especially at home. Always like taking Vegas at home on totals over, because they seem to play a little bit more wide open for the fans. Because I've been there a few times. I'm not sure if you guys have. I think Carmine has. But that place is crazy. So they want to put on a little bit of a performance for them. To me, this is a great situational spot for Seattle. But I am not going to lay even money with a Seattle team that I don't believe yet. They are getting better. And they will be good. They'll be a great home underdog in January, February. But I don't think they're there yet. So for us, we're going to take this over 5.5 at even money too.
All right. And I get it, Buster. It's one of those things where with this Golden Knights team, we talked about it. When the injuries hit, it was next man up. and they were winning games. Went to Colorado, won there. Go on this road trip. And, coming home, 1 day's rest, and that was a travel day, and they're right back at it now. They did give Lehner the game off in that last game against Detroit, so he'll likely be the starting goalie today. And two very good starting goalies is why I tend to look at the under here with Grubauer and Lehner. But you'll never get that confirmation on the Vegas goalie until very late. It's just the way Vegas operates. It's why I'm still leaning there. Kraken gave the free space on the bingo card. That is the Arizona Coyotes. They gifted them a win on the weekend. So we have no more winless teams to speak of. Guys, I want to mention, obviously, it is Tuesday, so it's $2 Tuesday at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. It's where you can get a featured Tappers plays for only $2. At WagerTalk, the $2 Tapper this week is Ralph Michaels. College basketball kicks off, so we've got college basketball plays at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. It's Ralph Michaels at WagerTalk with a best bet in college basketball. And over at Sports Memo, it's John Ryan. He's killing it across all sports, John Ryan. So you can grab his college basketball play as well for only $2. All right, guys, it's the best bet segment of the show. We're going to head to Dr. Chuck first for his best bet. Tell us what you got as your best bet and what you have up today for your clients.
So get out of the way first. Just as I said at the beginning of the show, I have a 10-unit college football big play in Maction tonight. And as well as, we have NBA and NHL every day, and then we're adding a college basketball. So football's every night, basketball's every night, and our hockey as well. So there's a lot of stuff out there. We swept the card on Monday in all three sports, and are looking tonight for a game we didn't talk about in the four picked plays. The Ducks facing the Canucks in Vancouver tonight, and if you look at, we're looking at the Ducks, the first period money line. It's we're not going puck line, so there could be a push in this spot, but it's specifically a play on the Ducks. Looking better offensively, or not looking better offensively, just looking good. Period offensively. They're a fun team to watch, and the Canucks are just a slow starting team. I don't want to take a side in this, which I probably would play Anaheim if I was going full game, but the Canucks have played 12 games this season. They've won one first period. They've lost 8 of them and pushed in the other 3. In those 12 games, they've scored 5 total goals. I don't have the stats in front of me on whether or not that's the low in the league, but it's really close. Anaheim is excellent on the power play. If they get any power plays, Vancouver also has allowed the most power play goals at 13 on the season. And so you just get a lot of value getting plus 125 on what I think is 100% the better team early in this game, and the Canucks are going to turn this around and not be what they were last season over the 82 games. I don't believe, but tonight, at least early, I think that we win this outright. But I think it's a worst case scenario we push.
All right, there you have it, Dr. Chuck of Sports Memo. A late fill-in today, so I need to thank him for coming on, and hopefully he gives you guys all a power play winner. Buster, what do you got for us?
Well, Carmine, I'm going to go back to what I usually do. The last 2 weeks I gave first period they were actually money line plays, and both of them pushed. 3 weeks ago, I got you a winner on what I'm going to do now, my first period puck line plays. So tonight, we're going to go with Calgary -0.5 plus 130 for the first period on the puck line. Calgary's just been really good, really good. The only 2 games they've lost have both been in overtime or a shootout there. So they got the jump on the Rangers last game. I think they get the jump on San Jose again today. It's their last home game before they go out on a road trip. Give us Calgary -0.5 plus 130 on the puck line. And you can head over to Sports Memo where we swept our best bet triple play last night. Going 3-0, and we have another one up for tonight. So head on over there. College basketball starts. Number 1 last year at Sports Memo in college basketball, so we should have a package up hopefully in this week sometime. There's 150 games, but we're going to have a couple plays for tonight. One of them's in that package. So head on over to Sports Memo, and hopefully we'll have another 3-0 sweep tonight.
Awesome. Great to hear, Buster. And, best of luck with those plays. And Buster, I love the -1 plus money plays that you put out. Listen, they don't always hit, but last year you hit a ton more winners than losers in that. And anyone who followed along with your show best bets last year definitely made money. So best of luck to you with your play tonight and your plays that are loaded for clients. Guys, my show power play is going to be a game that we talked about earlier, the Chicago-Pittsburgh game. That coaching change, we'll see if it continues to make this Blackhawks team better. They were supposed to be a decent team this year. It's been a horrible, horrible start, which led to the Fire Arena collision. They played well defensively. Let's see what they can do against this Pittsburgh team in this spot. I'm leaning to the under. I just think under 6 gets there. I think this line should have probably been at around 5.5 with the players that are out for Pittsburgh, with Chicago the way they played on the weekend. Maybe we see some progression from this team instead of that regression, and start stopping some of those pucks. Under 6 here, I don't think we get to that number today. That's going to be my best bet. Over at WagerTalk, I will have a NHL 3-pack up shortly. The plays are ready to be loaded. I just needed to check on some goalies. And I've got a 5% play going on Thursday in World Cup qualifying action. So you can get that over at WagerTalk. Guys, the best bets are up on the screen again. Let's look at them one last time. We thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry about the Wi-Fi issues we had today, but hopefully things will be better tomorrow. Myself, the under 6, Don Buster, Calgary, -0.5 first period, +130, and Dr. Chuck with Anaheim first period, +125 on the two-way betting line. Best of luck to you guys tonight. Thanks for tuning in, and hit that like button.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.